Hello everyone and welcome to Tech with NK. Today we are going to solve the last problem or the last question from problem set 1, that is meal time, from CS50's Introduction to Programming with Python. So we are expected to create a Python file, call it meal.py, and implement a program that gets input from the user and tells whether it's breakfast time, lunch time, or dinner time. And if it's not time for any meal, do not output anything. This program is supposed to work on a 24-hour system, so it's going to check times between 7 and 8, 12 and 13, that's 1 p.m., and 18, in between 18 and 19 o'clock, that's in between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m., for those who are not familiar with the 24-hour system. And so in implementing this script, we are supposed to create two functions, main and convert. The function convert is supposed to take input from the user as a string in the 24-hour system, for example 7:30, and return the output as a float 7.5. Why 0.5? Because the minute has been divided, or 30 has been divided by 60, since an hour is 60 minutes, sorry. So we are going to convert the minutes into hours. So how are we going to proceed? I'll start by copying the script that has been given to us. Then I'm going to open VS Code on my computer and show you what to do. So in the terminal, I'm going to create a new folder, make dir, or call my folder meal. Then I'm going to move into this folder, move into the folder meal, and I will create a Python file or call it meal.py. Now that my file has been created, I'm going to close the terminal. I'll start by pasting the code that has been given to us, and I'm going to see how to implement these functions. So I'll start with convert. So what do I know? I know that convert is going to take input from the user, that's time, as a string. So I need to start thinking about how I'm going to convert this from a float, how convert this from a string to a float. We've been given a hint in the question. It says that we can use the function split to separate the user's input like so. So probably if we have 7:30 like this, if we split with the colon, what we'll do is going to separate the 7 and the 30 for us, which should make things a little bit easier. So we'll start by doing that. I'm going to create two variables, hour and minute, and I'm going to call the time. Time is a parameter that has been given to us, so time.split, and I'm going to split using the colon. So it's going to split the time for us perfectly. Then I'm going to convert my minutes into a floating point value. How am I going to do that? I'll just say f minute for, let's say, what, float minute equals float of minute divided by 60. However, this is not enough, because let's say I do, for example, 45 by 60. We're going to have so many decimal places at the end, which we don't want. So we're going to round this up. I'm going to call the round function. I'll say round this result to 2 decimal places, because that's what is expected from us from the exercise. Now that we have our minutes in the right format, I'm going to return float of hour plus minute, or rather f minute. So we're done with the convert function. Now we're going to go up to the main function. In the main function, we're going to start by getting input from the user. So I'll say I'm going to create a variable called input, or use the input function. So I'll modify this name a little bit, input1, or use the input function, or pass a string to it. Let's say, what time is it? Okay, that's done. I'm going to strip the results to remove any leading or trailing white spaces. Then I'm going to convert. So I'm going to call the convert function on the user's input. Let's say input 2. In fact, we don't even need to change the value of this variable, or just say input 1. It's now equals to convert input 1. So now we have converted our input into the right format. What we need to do next is to carry out our comparison. So I'm going to comment this. I'll say carrying out comparison. Okay. I'm going to use a bunch of if-else statements to do this. So I'm going to check if the user's input is found in between 7.0 less than or equal to input 1, or input 1 is less than or equal to 8.0. Print breakfast time. Close this. Okay. So what does this mean? This means that if the user's input is found between 7 and 8, we're going to print breakfast time. Now if I continue this, I'll say elif if the user's input is found between 12.0, so 12.0 less than or equal to input 1 less than or equal to 13.0, what do I do? Yes, you're right. Or print launch time. Okay. Now I'll just copy this. Control C, Control V. If the user's input is found between 18.0 and 19.0, I'm going to print dinner time. Okay. So I think this implementation is good enough. I'll quit this. I pressed this by mistake. Okay. Now I'm going to run this Python file and see how it works. Python mail.py. Oh, mistake. Okay, I have to move to the folder mail and then Python mail.py. Okay, I haven't saved this file yet, so I'll save it. Now if I run this one more time, so what time is it? I'm going to try entering, let's see, if we test with what has been given to us, we'll say 12.42. Copy this, come to VS Code and print that 12.42 launch time, what we expected. This time around I'll just go ahead and enter mine 18.53 dinner time. So you see our code works perfectly fine. Thank you for following up to the end of this video with me. I look forward to seeing you in my upcoming videos. Do not forget to like and subscribe.